For more on this controversial interview that Mr. Prashant Bhushan has given to our network, we are now joined by our editor-at-large, Mr. Rahul Kanwal. Rahul, clearly Prashant Bhushan, although trying to differentiate what he had said before about that Kashmir should be separated if the people want so, but again making some controversial statements in the interview there.
Well, this is a bit of a departure from what Prashant Bhushan said previously in Varanasi, where he asked for a plebiscite and said if people in Kashmir feel fed up with the Indian state and want to break away, that wish must be accepted by the Indian Union. He now says that position is unconstitutional. He's now shifted his position to suggest that there must be a referendum on whether the AFSPA must continue in Kashmir. There must be a referendum on whether people want to see the army in the internal areas of Kashmir. And if the referendum, which would be a Delhi-style referendum through SMS, through Mohalla Sabhas, asking people whether or not they would like the army to continue in Kashmir, and if the verdict of this referendum suggests that people don't want the army in Kashmir, then he says from the internal areas the army must be moved out. The difference that he is making, Ankit, is that for external aggression along the line of control, to prevent terrorists from coming in, to prevent infiltrators from coming in, he says the Indian Union must decide whether or not that must happen. But for all other internal security threats, the police must deal with it and not the army. The army must be withdrawn. This comment by Prashant Bhushan, especially in the current context of the Aam Aadmi Party's national ambitions, likely to stoke a massive controversy.
Absolutely. Okay. Did he clarify, are these also the views of the Aam Aadmi Party, or was he making these statements in a personal capacity?
He's obviously speaking as a senior leader of the Aam Aadmi Party, but I do not think that these can be ascribed to be the views of the Aam Aadmi Party itself. Prashant Bhushan, on the issue of insurgency in the northeast, on the issue of Maoism, on the issue of nuclear plants, has taken very strong positions because of his background as an ace Supreme Court lawyer, as a human rights activist. He obviously now, as part of a national political party, will find it very difficult to veer away from those hardline positions that he's taken.
Absolutely.
So he hasn't said that this is the view of the Aam Aadmi Party, and to be fair, I'm fairly certain that the Aam Aadmi Party will take a different position, because they can't be seen to be taking a position which is clearly anti-nationalist, clearly non-popular with voters. So that's a big distinction between being a human rights crusader, activist who can say what he wants, and being also bound by the compulsions of politics. Ankit.
This, of course, is not going to go well as far as the opposition is concerned. And now we are joined by Siddharthnath Singh of the BJP. Mr. Singh, in an exclusive interview to Headlines today, Prashant Bhushan, the member of the Aam Aadmi Party, has said that there should be a referendum in Kashmir whether the people want the army to be there or not. And if the people says they do not want the army, it should be removed. What are your views on that, sir?
Well, Prashant Bhushan should remember that he is no more an NGO or an activist. He is representing as a senior leader of an Aam Aadmi Party, which is sworn to the Indian Constitution. Now, this kind of a language which he is speaking is a language of Pakistan and separatists. Talking of demilitarization of the valley through a referendum without the dismantling of terror infrastructure which exists in Pakistan would be disastrous. And all I can say is that this is something which is moving towards the language of separatism.
Right.
Separatists. So it's condemnable, and I think Mr. Bhushan and his party should remember that there is a unanimous resolution on Jammu and Kashmir, including POK.
Absolutely.
That POK is a part of India's sovereignty, and this has been done through parliament. So at least now, since they are sworn to the Indian Constitution, after Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi forming a government in Delhi, they should respect the Constitution, they should respect the parliament, and this is something which is unacceptable.
Mr. Siddharthnath Singh, I would request you to stay with us. Let me just also go across to Mr. Kaul of the PDP. Mr. Kaul, you heard there on our network Prashant Bhushan making those controversial statements as far as the Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, saying that the army should be withdrawn if the people of the valley want so. What are your views on that, sir?
I feel that the Aam Aadmi Party and Prashant Bhushan have made this statement. I think their heart and mind is in the right place. But perhaps such important decisions cannot be taken. I'm happy that the most important part of his statement, which is to ask the people of Jammu and Kashmir as to how they would like to live their lives, and in with the police, what is the role of the police, and has the role of the army in the civilian areas been fulfilled, and therefore should it go back to the borders? I think it is a matter of consultation with the people. That is what I'm happy about. But perhaps such important decisions will need to be taken, taking everyone on board. And
absolutely. Let me go back to Siddharthnath Singh of the BJP. So this is definitely going to snowball into a huge political controversy. The Aam Aadmi Party so far has been shying away from making statements and their stand clear on certain key issues that included the issue of the valley. But now Prashant Bhushan coming out and making that statement. Will the BJP be taking it up with the Aam Aadmi Party?